So, I'm Alessia Montacchini, and I'm part of Lab, Heritage Research Lab, and I will talk about the lab maybe a little bit later. And it's a conjoint lab between the University of Florence, in specific with the Department of Architecture, and the Florence World Heritage in relationship with the UNESCO Office of the Municipality of Florence. So I will talk briefly about the World Heritage Sites. So the Historical Center of Florence has been inscribed in the World Heritage List in 1982 during the sixth session of the World Heritage Committee. And it has been the first Italian properties of being inscribed in the World Heritage List with the number 174. And it has been inscribed thanks to the criteria 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. So this is a map with the boundaries of the core zone of the site and of the buffer zone. So the core zone is the World Heritage Site, which has been inscribed in 1982. And initially, the perimeter of the core zone was up to 505 hectares. But these years, in July 2021, the World Heritage Committee has approved our request of a minor boundary modification of the site to include this area, which is underlined in the red color, just to extend the protection of the site, because we realized that we didn't include an attribute, which is the San Miniato complex, a religious complex, into the perimeter. So we asked the World Heritage Center to include also this complex and other cultural attraction into the World Heritage Site. And like in light blue, you can see the buffer zone. So the buffer zone, it hasn't been approved at the beginning as in the core zone, but it has only been recognized in 2015. And it's include 4 different municipalities, not only Florence, but also Sesto Fiorentino, Fiesole, and Bagno a Ripoli. Scrolling, so this is the map that I was telling you about the World Heritage Site at the buffer zone. And this is the governance system, a brief scheme of the how the site is managed. So technically we have a steering committee, which is composed by 3 different institutions on the Florentine territory. And it has been instituted in 2007 with a memorandum of understanding. So the official steering committee is made of 3 different institutions, but since the diversification and the dynamic structure of the site, we decide to extend the steering committee to some other institution, like for example also the statual museums of the city. And then we have the Florence World Heritage relation with UNESCO Office of the Municipality of Florence, which we can say it has the responsibility of coordinating the updating process of the management plan. And the office has been created in 2005 and as an office of the Municipality of Florence, because the Municipality of Florence, it is recognized as the responsible for the management of the whole site. And the office gets the support of Lab, and I belong to Lab, so the conjoint lab, which is supporting the office for the research, the development of project and initiative that are dealing with the updating of the management plan. And then on the side of the communication and enhancement, the office is taking the support of the Association Muse, which is another in-house company within the Municipality of Florence, which is creating the communication of the cultural heritage of the city. So this is what's the core reason and aim of the management plan. So how to preserve, as Matthias Ripp was saying, so the main aim is to understand how to preserve the outstanding universal value of the site. And for the case of Florence, our aim is to find the right balance between conservation and the enhancement of the cultural heritage and natural heritage of the site, with the awareness raising of stakeholders and the whole community. So these are the three main objectives of the management plan. So the first one is to promote the outstanding universal value, which is the core aim of the management plan. So to find different ways of promoting this value to the whole population. The second one is analyzing the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities and threats, and the changing factors which are affecting the site through mainly a SWOT analysis. The third aim is to involve the communities and the stakeholders of the Florentine territory for raising awareness of the heritage value of the site, because many times we live in a place where we don't understand, we do not appreciate our values, and this is also our aim to raise awareness about this value, because all the population must care about his heritage, like in line also with the Faro Convention of Heritage. The fourth aim is to identifying achievable and measurable actions and projects through an action plan. So as also Matthias Ripp was saying, so the revision of the management plan is not a process, but it's more a cycle. So normally it starts with a planning phase, which is followed by the implementation, and then the monitoring and then review. And starting from the review, there is another planning phase. And so far we are like in the middle of these two phases, so the planning and the review. And for the management plan, from the last version, we decided to develop a vision and a mission of the management plan. So the vision is that we are convinced that only sustainable development centered on man, on mutual respect, and on intellectual dialogue can provide a foundation on which to build a new and consistent vision for living a thriving and welcoming city. So the vision is more like our future vision, so our future objectives of what the historic center of Florence should be like in the next years. And the mission instead is like our daily mission. So what we have to do every day to support our vision, and will be like to preserve over time the integrity and the authenticity of the outstanding universal value, which have permitted the recognition of the property as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So this is the process of the development of the management plan. So the first management plan of the Historic Center of Florence has been drafted in 2006, short after the institution of the Florence World Heritage Office of the municipality. And it has been followed by a monitoring in 2007, followed by a review of the management plan of 2016 and the monitoring of 2018. What is the monitoring? So this is peculiar documents which has been recognized as a best practice at international level, because these documents want to prove that the management plan, it has been effectively implemented into the site through like a set of indicators which are mainly based on the sustainable development goals of the 2030 agenda. So as I was saying to you before, so now we are on this phase of the revision cycle. So we are between the review and the planning. And why do we have to update the management plan? Actually, every site should update the management plan, especially for living cities, because living cities has different needs, different criticalities, which are developing and changing over time. So it's important that also the management plan is tackle all the criticalities and is trying to find a new solution for like managing in a sustainable and effective way the World Heritage sites. So as for the case of Florence, the municipality of Florence is trying to update the management plan every 5 years, more or less, which has been split into through the monitoring document. And the updating of 2021 of the management plan is very important because, as you may know, like the European region will be asked to complete the periodic reporting starting for next year, and the management plan will be the main document for starting this for this drafting. So in the management plan, the main scope is to address the main criticalities that has been identified in the previous periodic reporting. And the main criticalities so far are the mass tourism, the conservation of monuments, the mobility system and its consequent pollution, the flood risk of the Arno River, which cross into the city, and the decreasing number of residents into the core zone and the historic center. So all the action, all the text that has been taken into consideration for the development of the management plan has to deal with those criticalities. And for addressing all these criticalities and for updating the management plan, this year we have been starting with an analysis of working documents, both local, national, and international, to see where like the main principle of this document, and trying to be in line with all these principles and to address properly all the criticalities and threats of the site. So we start with the local documents of the city, which are the major term program, the operational plan for the urban setting, and Florence Reborn or Rinasce Firenze, which is a programmatic document for the COVID-19 restart. Then on the Sustainable Development Goals, recommendation of the UNESCO ICOMOS Advisory Mission and the Healthcare Action Plan for Europe. So these were the main documents that we have been taking into consideration for this updating process. So these were the main steps for the development of the new management plan. So the first step as part of the cycle of the review was the analysis and the revision of the general information of the property, because it's not a new management plan, but it's more an update. So we generally take the old management plan and we update the information up to now. The second step was the involvement of the community and of several institutions, of the steering committee, of association in the territory for receive strategic process for the action plan. The third step was the draft of the management plan and the re-elaboration of all the information gathered so far. And the last step that will be like possibly like in December, the approval by the City Council of this strategic document. So what's different between like the last management plan to the updated management plan? The first difference is the participation of communities and stakeholders, which has been dealt in a different way. Because in 2016, there was Maratona dell'Ascolto, that means like a hearing marathon in which we set different tables to listen the needs of the population. But this time, we decided to set it in a different way. And we organized different meetings to gather all the information, and we set different meetings especially with the steering committee, with the municipal departments, and with the local stakeholders. With the community, we had some meetings to understand what was the perception of the active population of the city regarding the outstanding universal value of the site, to understand if it's really something, if there is a feeling of we are doing like the right management and communication of these values. And as office, as the Florence World Heritage Office and Her Lab has also participate into Firenze Prossima, which is the involvement process of the municipality of Florence for developing and updating the urban planning documents. And this was our support to this initiative. The second difference was the governance system, because I will explain to you later, we decided to split the action plan into macro areas and respect the macro areas of the previous management plan. We decided to put a major focus on the governance system, which hasn't been tackled in the previous version of the document. The third difference is the awareness raising project, which is Firenze Forma Continua, which will focus on the relation between the historic city, the surrounding, and the evolution of the city. The other difference will be the minor boundary modification, because for the first time after the inscription of the site in the World Heritage List, the course zone has been extending, and therefore like the priorities for protection and safeguard of the site will be different. Another difference is a table and an assessment of the values and attributes of outstanding universal value, because it was proper for us for creating a new way of understanding the outstanding universal value, so more schematic and clearer, because the attributes are normally not identified into the management plan, and it's a key point for understanding the site and especially evaluating the factor of risk. The last two new characteristics of the management plan is the alignment with the strategic objectives and programs of the municipality of Florence and with the international documents. As I was explained to you before, we take as a starting point the analysis of the programmatic documents at international and local level. And the last difference is that this plan is more focused on other topics, for example, the disaster risk management, climate change, the rapport between tourism and residents, the historic urban landscape approach, the heritage impact assessment, and the heritage data system of the site. So all these 7 are the news of the management plan respecting the old version. So these are the 6 macro areas of the action plan. So the action plan is the practical part of the management plan and puts into practice all the theories of the management plan. So we have a first part that expresses all the needs and the characteristic of the sites, and then there is the action plan that gathers different projects that are ongoing or planned for the site that help in preserving and enhancing the outstanding universal value of the site. And all these projects, specific projects, have been divided into these 6 macro areas that has been modified and reviewed respecting the old management plan. And mainly, as you can see, they match with the criticalities of the site. So for the collection of the 30 selected projects of the action plan, we did a very long engagement process with different target groups on the site. So we collect projects from the municipality of Florence, from 13 different departments. We get projects from the steering committee and also from associations and institutions on the territory. And we send an online modules to compile to over 200 institution association on the territory. And after a very long process of reviewing all the information and projects received, we decided only to select 30 projects that will be monitored in the next years. And all the projects that we received, they haven't been deleted, so we are taking them in consideration, but just as part of the management plan and will not be monitored over time. So this is a screenshot of how the project sheet has been developed of the action plan. Sorry that is in Italian, but we didn't have the Italian version, the English version. So technically is the name of the project monitor, the description of the project, the 5C, strategic lines, the criticalities of the sites, and the criteria, the integrity and the authenticity of the site. So here we're just identifying how the project is dealing with all three tables. The responsibility of the projects, the objectives, and the efficacy indicators, and the period of reference. So I will finish with this slide on the monitoring. So how we are going to monitor all the 30 projects that have been included into the action plan of the monitoring of the management plan. So we will review all the criticalities of the site after the periodic reporting that will be taken from next year's. And then we have two different monitoring indicators. We have evaluation parameters for evaluating the efficacy of each macro area in general, and then efficacy indicators selected for each project. So we are monitoring the management plan and the action plan on two levels. So on a general way and a more specific way. For the general way, so for the monitoring of the evaluation parameters for the macro area, we are going to do like an internal technical review of all the projects. But for the monitoring of each project, we are going to have like an iterative consultation process with all the stakeholders and parties involved into the selection of the projects, which has been the main challenges of now and what we have to take in consideration for the future. These are the three most important points. So that we have to deal more with the approach of the historic urban landscape. And as you can remember, this year has been the 10th anniversary of the recommendation on the historic urban landscape approach. And the Historic Center of Florence has been invited to several events and meetings on this topic. And this is a very important approach for us because we'll allow to have a more integrated management system of the site, and not only regarding the core zone, but also linked to the whole territory at a metropolitan level and with the buffer zone. Also very important, and another topic that has to be improved is the topic of disaster risk management and climate change, because unfortunately, we don't have many information and skills to deal with these topics, because it's very, very complicated. And it will be like a topic for research activities for the next years. And another challenges for the future will be to find a new and smart and technological strategies to collect information for the collecting of information for the projects in the action plan. So I finished with my presentation. If you want to get to know more information about the monitoring process and all our documents, everything is available in the website of the office, which is firenzepatrimoniomondiale.it. We also have like an English version of the site, and will be soon updated with all the new information as soon as the management plan will be approved by the World Heritage Center and the municipality of Florence. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward for your questions.